In this video we will look at working with strings, and we will go into the string data type in a little more detail. So a string value is defined by placing any printable character between a pair of either single quotes or double quotes. In Python, a string can be defined with either pairs of quotes. You may want to define a string using a pair of single quotes if you want to embed double quotes inside the string. And you may want to define a string using double quotes if you want to embed single quotes inside the string. You can't embed a double quote inside a string defined by double quotes because as soon as you get to an internal double quote, it will look like you are ending the string value, and you can run into issues there. We can use some special characters as well inside our strings. So for example, if we want to put a single quote or a double quote inside any string, regardless of how we define the string, we can use a backslash in front of the single quote or backslash in front of the double quote. The backslash character in Python is called an escape character, and the backslash does not print as a backslash. The backslash serves as a character that tells you the next character is something special. So some other special string characters are the double backslash. So if I want to print a single backslash, I have to backslash the backslash. I have to escape the backslash. Backslash n prints a new line character, so we can separate lines of output using a new line character. And a backslash t defines a horizontal tab character. So if we want to format our output in a tabulated manner, we can use the backslash t. So these 5 characters are some special characters we can embed in our strings. Let's talk about some string operators. Well, we have seen in a previous video that the plus sign and the multiplication sign, these are algebraic operators when we use them with numeric data types. But the plus and the multiply are also string operators when they are used with string data types. The plus operator, when used between 2 string values, concatenates the strings. It sticks them together. So for example, if I have the string hello plus the string world, this is going to create a string called hello world. A single string with the 2 strings combined. The multiplication operator, when used between an integer and a string value, is used to, it's almost like you are repeating the string the int number of times. It's a multiple concatenation. So for example, the string hi times the integer value 5 will produce the string hi 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 hi, 5 highs concatenated together. We can also imagine a string as being an indexed list of printable characters. In Python, strings and other collections have a positive and negative index that we can use to access individual characters within the string. So here I have an example string, s is equal to the string hello space Python with an exclamation point at the end. And if I think of indexing starting at 0, the first character has an index of 0, and then we count up. Each character has a unique index. Now, we can also, in Python, indexing also works in the negative direction. So if I were to look at the last character in my string, I could think of it as having an index of a -1. And then I could count backwards, so n would be -2, o would be -3, and so on. And so in Python we can have positive indexing or negative indexing. This allows us to very easily pull values off of the front of our string or pull values off the end of our string with ease. String slicing is another syntax in Python that allows us to extract a substring of data from a string. And string slicing can contain anywhere from 1 to 3 integer values. The first value is going to represent the starting index we want to slice from. The second value is the ending index we want to slice up to. And the third value is the step size. How many characters are we going to skip before we get to the next value we want to slice. So here I'm going to use my Hello Python string as an example. And let's look at single index slicing. So if I take my string and I use the syntax, a pair of brackets and a single index inside, what we will do is this syntax will return the character at that index. So s at index 6, we can look here, we can go up to s, our string at index 6, the 6th character in our string, starting at 0, so it's the 7th character, the 6th indexed character, is capital P. So the string at index 6 will return the string value P. S at -1, well, we can do negative indexing. S at -1 is going to give me the character exclamation point. And S at index 5, if we count up here, S at index 5 is just a space character, so that would return a space. Let's look at what would happen if we add the second index value. The second index value is the end point, and we will return all characters starting from the first index up to, but not including, the end index. So we will never include the end indexed character in our output. So let's look at some examples here. Let's say I want to split this or slice this string starting at index 0, starting at h, and going up to, but not including index 2. So I want to go up to, but not including index 2, which is an L. So this slice would return the string HE. Our next example, we're going to slice from index 6 up to index 13. Well, if we go look at index 6, we're slicing from P up to index 13. Well, there is no index 13 here, but that's okay. Python's okay with this. Because we're slicing up to, but not including index 13, we're going to grab all the characters from index 6 to 12, which is going to be Python, including an exclamation point. I have an error here. All right. The next example here is we're slicing from index -4 up to -1. I want to show you can slice with negative indexes. So if we slice starting at negative index 4, which is an H, up to but not including -1, so we're not including the exclamation point, we should split the values HON, okay, which we do. We can also do some shortcut syntax. If I leave the starting index blank, like empty here, that means we're going to slice from the beginning of the string up to index 5, but not including index 5. So S from empty up to index 5 would give us HELLO up to 5, but not including that space. So we get hello. And if we leave off the second index here, we're going to slice from the first index all the way to the end of the string. So here we're going to start at index -3, which is O, and we're going to splice all the characters until the end of the string. So ON exclamation point. All right. Again, my example here, I have an error. There should be an exclamation point as well. Okay, third example here. If you include the third integer in this string slice, the third value gives you the step size. We're going to return every nth character, where n is the step size here. So let's look at an example. If I want to slice starting at index 0, that's h, I want to slice up to index 5, so h up to the space, but not including the space. And I want to take every second character. So the characters I'm going to return here are capital H, skip the E, capital L, skip the second L, capital, or lowercase o. Did I say capital L? I meant lowercase l. So H, L, O. Our next example, we are going to start at index 5, so I'm starting with the space. I'm leaving the second index blank here, so I'm going to the end of the string, starting at the space, going to the end of the string, and I'm taking every third character. So I would take the space, skip 2, take the T, skip 2, take the N, and then we would try to skip 2, but we reach the end of the string, so we're done. So we return the space, the T, and the N. Our next example, I'm leaving the first index blank and the second index blank. That means I'm starting from the beginning of the string, splicing or moving to the end of the string every other character, every second character. So here I would return H, L, O, capital P, T, O, exclamation. If I vary it up a little bit, here I'm slicing from index 1, so I'm starting from the E, going to the end of the string, because I left it blank, by 2's. So here I would grab E, L, space, Y, H, N. And then we've reached the end of the string. And we can use some of these string slices here to pull off values and create other values. So here we're concatenating sliced values of the string. So the values is from the beginning of the string up to 3 is H, E, L. We don't include the second L because we don't include that indexed value. So H, E, L. Then I'm adding at the string at index 6, which is a capital P. So H, E, L, capital P. And then the index at the end, -1. So we're going to grab the exclamation point. So understanding how to slice a string can be useful, especially when we get into file processing, cleaning data sets, etc. Now a little more string, some useful string functions that I want to talk about really quickly. These string functions can help us do string processing work. The len function in Python, the length function, will return the length of any collection. And a string is a collection of characters. So if I pass a string value into the len function, it will return how many characters are in the string. So in this case, I have the indexed characters 0 to 12. That's 13 characters. Now from the string, there are some methods or some functions we can call. The index function can be called from a string, and we can pass in a string value into the index function. What the index function does is it returns the index value of the first found location of this string. So if I try to find the index of O, well, in my string I have 2 O's. I have one at the end of hello, and I have one in Python. But the index function is going to return the first index that it finds. So as I'm scanning through here, the first O it finds is at index 4. So it will return a 4 value. Now I don't have to just search for a single character. I can search for a smaller string. So the index of on, if I go down here and I look for an on, well here I have an O, but this isn't on. But here I have an on, and that on substring starts at index 10. So this index of on from this string S will return 10. Now if I try to find the index of a string value that doesn't exist in the string, the program will crash and we will get an error. Now we can also call the count function from our string. The count will return how many instances of this substring are in our main string. So if I wanted to count the lowercase l characters or strings here, we see that there are 2 L characters, and so this would return the value 2. So you could use count along with index to say, well, first s.count value number of x's in my string. If there are no x's, it would count 0, and we could use that value to determine whether we can look for the index or not. Finally, the .toUpper function and the .toLower function we can call from a string. These functions return either the fully capitalized or fully lowercase values or versions of that string. So if I called s.upper here, s.upper is going to return the string capital hello, capital Python, and then the exclamation point stays the same. If I call s.lower, it's going to return lowercase hello, lowercase Python, exclamation point. Any numbers or exclamation or symbols that are embedded in these strings are ignored. Only letters are forced into uppercase or lowercase. So I hope this video kind of helps you feel a little bit stronger about the string data type.